And now my...
We switch on the microphone. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Still waiting 1 more minute. And then we just start.
Hello, I can hear you. So it looks everything is fine.
Oops.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. Okay.
Shall we start?
Yes.
Okay, so first I'll let you start with the introduction.
How do you move? How do you scroll?
This-
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar from the Minerva Art Academy of Hanze University of Applied Sciences. My name is Denise Brolsma.
My name is Jan Kluk. And then we also have here.
Hi, I'm a student in MedTech and I'm Juwon Jung. I'm actually Korean, so
Yeah.
hi.
We have Korean backup.
We have Korean backup. So I will be telling you a little bit about Hanze University and the Minerva Art Academy. And also, of course, studying in Groningen, the study destination. And my colleague, Jan Klug, he's a lecturer at the MedTech program. He will tell you more about the specific program details, the course outline, portfolio preparation, and Yoon will answer questions to you in Korean so that she can help you with your decision-making process.
With the next slide, please.
So again, a short presentation outline of what we want to do during this webinar. I'll talk about Groningen as a study destination, give you some information about the university. Then we will discuss Minerva Art Academy and the Frank Moore Institute, which is part of the Minerva Art Academy. We will give you some alumni details, and then we will have a Q&A at the end of the webinar. And I understand it's late for you all. It's 8:00 p.m. So by the time you'll get to the questions and answers session, I think we will be around 9:00 p.m. So I'll try to go through a bit more fast so that it won't take too much of your time. Next slide, please. So my name is Denise Brolsma, as I mentioned earlier. I am an advisor for the Marketing Communications Department at Hanze University, and I help Minerva Art Academy with their marketing and recruitment strategy.
I'm Jan Kluk, a lecturer at MedTech of Minerva Art Academy, and that is one of the 2 programs which we will introduce to you. And also, Sharon is a student of MedTech.
Yeah.
So you will learn a bit more about MedTech and the other program, painting, in a minute. But first, Denise will give you an introduction to Groningen and the Hanze University. So next slide, please.
Hanze University is located in the north of the Netherlands. As you can see on the slide, it's close to Germany, actually. It's about 1.5 hours away from Amsterdam. Groningen has its own airport. It has a train station. It's also close to the Bremen airport in Germany. So it's easily accessible by train, by plane, and also by car, of course. And yeah, the Netherlands is a very small country, so you can travel the Netherlands easily from Groningen. Next slide, please. Groningen is the best student city in the Netherlands. We have been awarded this prize 2 years in a row. And best student city because it's a compact, safe city. It's got lots of students. It's a very young student population. 50% of the people that live in Groningen are actually under the age of 35. So yeah, wherever you go, it's very lively and vibrant. It's also the second most cultural city of the Netherlands. We have various museums. The biggest one, of course, is the Groningen Museum. It's a popular museum. We have lots of small art galleries, exhibitions, festivals going on throughout the entire year, and also cultural events where artists have the ability to display their artwork. Here's some pictures of Groningen. As you can see, it's a cycle city, as every city is in the Netherlands, but in Groningen you see bikes everywhere, and cars are not allowed to access the city center, so it's very friendly for bicycle people on a bike. We also have canals in Groningen. Some people say Groningen actually looks like a little mini Amsterdam. So there's lots of water and the traditional houses next to the water. Next slide, please. Hanze University was founded in 1798. It's the oldest university of applied sciences in the northern part of the Netherlands. There are about 3 or 4 universities of applied sciences in the northern part of the Netherlands. Groningen has Hanze University has various locations in Groningen. The main campus is Zernike campus. That's where our business programs, IT programs, communication, our social programs, most of the study programs are actually at this campus. The Minerva Art Academy, however, has a beautiful location in the city center. The Zernike campus is not in the city center. It's about a 15-minute bike ride from the city center. There are also some other buildings throughout the city that belongs to Hanze University of Applied Sciences. In total, we have almost 30,000 students, and we have 13,000 staff members. We have about 80 different programs, bachelor programs, master programs. We also have associate degrees, which are 2-year bachelor programs. We have programs in Dutch and English. We even have one in German. We have 7 different schools. Schools are our word for faculties, and each school has different programs depending on the domain. So Minerva Art Academy has about 6 programs, but I will go into tell you about that later on. 10% of the students at Hanze University are international, and they come from 80 different countries. Now in Groningen, there's also a research university. It's a University of Groningen, and they also have a lot of international students. So in Groningen, there are a lot of international staff members and students. So you'll hear different languages all over the city, and you will be able to speak English to almost everyone. Hanze University has the most top-rated programs of universities of applied sciences in the Netherlands. Today we have about 15 top-rated programs, and 2 of them are actually part of the Minerva Art Academy. One is a first place top-rated program, and the other has a second place. So Minerva Art Academy is very proud of that. Next slide, please. And I'll briefly talk about the mission of the Minerva Art Academy. Minerva has the objective to influence the world and its surroundings by the impact of art. Minerva thrives in making unexpected combinations that may lead to new opportunities, raise questions, and create solutions. Minerva aims at creating a learning community where individuals interact with one another and with the world and learn from one another. Minerva contributes to the ability of students to study the world critically through music, art, design, and education, as well as to translate insights to words, to link meaningful images to ideas, and to manifest themselves by their own identity with feeling for the context of art. A whole mouthful. Jan will go more into detail about how this mission translates into the study program. Next slide, please. The Minerva Art Academy has 3 bachelor programs. They're offered in both English and Dutch. It's the Bachelor Design, Bachelor Fine Art, and the Bachelor Popular Culture. And it also has 3 master programs. 2 Master of Arts in Fine Art and Design. These are both taught in English, and 1 Dutch master program, which is art education. Together, these programs provide a dynamic international environment in vibrant Groningen, where a diverse collective of students come together to learn, collaborate, create, and share. All of our programs lead to internationally recognized degrees. We are proud to say that our study costs are relatively affordable compared to other programs in Europe, and especially outside of Europe. And we're also a gateway to Europe because the Netherlands is easily accessible from different big cities because of our trains and our airports. And at Minerva, almost half of the student population is actually international. So, next slide, please. The Frank Moore Institute, that is part of the Minerva Art Academy. It was established in 2000, and the Frank Moore Institute is the home to the master programs at Minerva Art Academy. And the international recognized degree it offers is the Master of Arts in Fine Art and Design. And they have 2 programs that lead to this degree. One is the Master in Painting, and the other is the Master in Media Arts, Design, and Technology. We also call this program MadTech. It's an interdisciplinary study program. And both of our programs are quite small, which means that you get a lot of individual attention, a lot of tailor-made study program. Number of students in painting are 17 in total, 11 first-year students. And at MadTech, there are 18 students in total, and this year we started with 9 students. And both programs take 2 years. Next slide, please. My colleague, Jan Klug, can tell you a little bit more about the way in which students find new pathways, and then go into detail about the programs. So I will pass the floor on to him.
I will turn the computer slightly. So the masters that we offer, they offer an experimental and critical environment to further envisage and shape your ideas. And the focus of the sentence may be your ideas. We need students, and we hope to find students who have their own artistic process, and where their process is driven by their own ideas, and which we then bring into the context of this education. For this, we need an exploratory mindset to investigate media, technology, and content, to understand, imagine, and develop your artistic practice. And our masters give you every opportunity to sharpen your artistic vision, find new pathways, and discover uncharted territory. At least that is the challenge that we as teachers and students face. And we do that through different elements in the program. I will show you what differs between the painting and the MadTech program, but also what is in common. So next slide, please. Well, we have, of course, unique selling points, which sounds as if we want to sell something, but indeed we do not. We want to invite you to participate. But it doesn't fit for everybody. So we look for an environment where people come with a mindset that is innovative, interdisciplinary. We encourage cross-arts art making. We are set in international context with all these students from different backgrounds, but also travels to different destinations. We work with studio-based learning. So people get their own studio space. Sometimes it's an individual studio, and sometimes it is a shared studio, but hopefully with enough space to develop everything that you need to develop there. And also space to display the work. And we have different settings for that. We have some gallery spaces here at this beautiful old building, which used to be a museum of natural nature museum, but also connected gallery spaces in this town and neighboring cities. We also encourage entrepreneurial and networking skills, which of course enhances employability afterwards. More on that later. Next slide, please. So first I will tell you something about the master painting. Painting sounds very clear. You might all have an image in your mind when you hear the term painting. But of course, the range of art is very broad, and also the master painting is very broad. It doesn't only work, only focus on paintings in the traditional sense. We have this, maxim that it is important for artists to conduct experiments and to understand how perception, psychology, cognition, and imagination work. So to convert these ideas into images and to get messages across the public needs a kind of mindset which embraces experiment and discussion of artworks. Artworks can be paintings within the master painting, but they don't need to be. They can be also new media works, sculptures, but the viewpoint from painting is important in this master. So you regard things from this viewpoint of the painting tradition. Topics covered, of course, then include viewpoints of past, present, and future, and the relationship between perception and cognition, image and language, stable and unstable media, all the new technology, art and science, local and global forms of society. So you see, it's much broader than just painting and improving painting, but it's bringing painting into context of society, of the world, and seeing it in a broad term as, for example, also employing technology, art and science, which painting, in a sense, has in common with medtech. But more on that later. First, the next slide, please. I will tell you something about the curriculum of painting, and you will see that many points are similar to medtech, which we will see in a moment. There are also many touching points. The theoretical part of the program is important and is shared between medtech and painting for a big part. But also, of course, there are also differences. So the focus of the first year of this 2-year master is exploring your possibilities in your chosen field, and at the end of the first year have a research plan to go into the more focused second year. The hybrid arts lab is what we call the combination of your studio presence, but also the discussion of your work. It is meant to explore how you can innovate and renew your own work, and also to encourage you to cross borders. And then in the presentation there's N, but that doesn't there's a remain of another sentence. Oops. No problem. So it is meant to extend your knowledge of and insight into the way disciplines are related during your research and media theory classes. Group sessions with fellow students, experts, and the public provide a kind of way to present and discuss the experiments, and workshops, research projects, and your own progress will hopefully thrive on this. Next to this more studio-based part of the program, there are field trips to relevant institutions, festivals, and research centers. And also an intensive studio trip a study trip to New York. Or we might also in the future decide to go to a different part of the world, depending on, of course, the feedback that we get from our students. But for the last few years, we built, we had a kind of tradition of going to this rich art field of New York City to broaden the horizon. Next slide, please. So with all the broadening of the horizon and experimentation, the second year of the study focuses more towards the final exam. We start with the implementation of your research plan, which you develop in the first year, towards a graduation project. And during a series of public dialogues, you will discuss your work with an audience of guest lecturers and others in order to improve the final result. And then, at the end, there will be the exhibition of the graduation project. And then there will be awards. It, of course, depends on your work. No, but there are indeed a couple of awards deployed during the final exams. We will come to that later in the section of awards, stipends, and other ways to crown the work. During this process of developing and focusing on your final exam, of course, the entrepreneurial skills will also be supported. The application process for a couple of art prizes will also be helped with. Denise already mentioned that there is also an university a research university in Groningen, and so in addition to the regular sessions in classes, you will have also an opportunity to attend a series there on history, art history, psychology of art, and art philosophy. And also there is a shared project with students of the research university, and together with painting and medtech, these students will meet you in an ongoing process throughout the year. Maybe Joan can tell you your experiences with that later. Okay, next slide, please. So now a bit overview of the medtech program, where the focus is artistic multimedia work and also the gaining of entrepreneurial skills. Now, artistic multimedia work, of course, is also very, very broad. The broadness is already in the name medtech. Med stands for media, art, design, and then technology. So it is a very broad field that we cover. And as a result, we have students from many diverse backgrounds, which we are very happy of, because it brings a huge richness to not only have students from all these countries, from all over the world meeting here, but also people from very diverse backgrounds and disciplines. We have people who have a more design background, people with a performance background, or autonomous art background. Some people come directly from the bachelor, but others come also from already working in the field a couple of years, and then coming here with a certain research question which they want to deepen. And this research question is important for all students that we admit here, because there's a lot of freedom in this master. So we don't offer a program which is set for every moment of the day. There's a lot of free space for developing of your own ideas and your research plan and your conducting your artistic research. So let's look at the curriculum. There's lots of space to devise and carry out your own experiments in the hybrid research lab. And it's a difference to the painting program. We also have a focus on creative coding or programming here within this hybrid research lab. So while there's not directly programming classes, we offer a series of workshops and crash courses to encourage people to code, to develop their coding skills if they have any, or to start new coding skills. And directly in connection with projects or artworks which they want to make, increase these coding skills. But also there's, of course, the theory and research courses at the University of Groningen, and also a joint research course, Image and Experience in a Technologically Charged Society, with master students of the University of Groningen. Also within the MATEC program, the discussions regarding the results of experience, workshops, research projects, and your own progress with fellow students, experts, and publics is important. We have a couple of sessions where we show and discuss individual work. And of course, there's a couple of moments to present and assess your work. Both MATEC and painting students share their work twice a year in feedback sessions. So it's not about grading your work, but getting valuable feedback from your peers and the team of tutors. And at the end of the first year, there is an assessment moment where we actually also grade the work. At the end of the second year, of course, this moment of assessment will be the final exams. So that is a side note. But in the meantime, also there's many visits to relevant institutions, festivals and workplaces and centers of research, both individually or as a group. And this is already also very much depending on the individual research path, what is relevant to your research. So we don't force everybody to go to everything. We only force people to go to some things, but with a good reason. But of course, there's also many points which might apply more to some people, and we encourage going there. Sometimes we do that as a study trip, and sometimes people go individually to art festivals or conferences. And also within MATEC, it is important to develop and refine your research plan in the first year, which will then be basis for the second year. Next slide, please. So in the second year, also in MATEC, this research plan will be implemented, ending in the graduation project and in the graduation exhibition. Both for MATEC and painting, this graduation project, of course, is the presentation of artwork, or which can be any shape that is relevant to your work, your way of working. So it could be a performance or installation. It could just be a painting on the wall, but it could also be, imagine anything that you want. But the other part of this graduation is a thesis, which accompanies the research. So the research plan of the first year is developed into this thesis in the second year. And we see a thesis as a very broad term. So it's not a thesis in the scientific sense, where you might follow just academic writing guidelines, and then in the end you have a book with 7 chapters, and in the end the conclusion. But the thesis hopefully is interwoven very much with your artistic process. So sometimes it also very much has this artistic form. I remember theses being covered in chocolate, and theses being a movie or an interactive web project. So anything that really makes sense for your artistic research, and I emphasize artistic in this research because we are not a science institute, we are an art institute. So thesis can cover the whole range of artistic expression within certain limitations, of course. The chocolate, for example, yeah, it touches the limitations. Okay, so I continue with the slide. These art courses often contain some theoretical and historical study, which helps to build an understanding of the history of art, as well as influencing the students and broadening students' awareness of the different styles and techniques that exist. So, for example, media history hopefully is also covered in some parts, and then there's always additional theory courses to broaden your knowledge. An important addition to the project is cross arts projects with the Master of Music of the Conservatory. So there's a master that's called NIPE, which stands for New Audiences and Innovative Practices, not performances. New audiences and innovative practices at the conservatory. And in MATEC, we try to connect to this master course at several moments and develop combined projects, festivals, basically a field for experiment and presentation. For example, we created experimental festivals, which, for example, have been called Shaky Grounds Festival. But also there has been a new collaboration with this master and two other universities. This 2-year program is called BAD, B-A-D, which stands for Beyond Art Disciplines. And we conduct this together with the Conservatory here in Groningen, but also University of the Arts of Stockholm in Sweden, and the Iceland University of the Arts in Reykjavik, which I've been to just 2 weeks ago for a kind of combined research trip with students and teachers. But throughout the next 2 years, we will also experiment and conduct research together with these partners. Next slide, please. Denise, will you take over with this, or should I continue with the?
I can sure. I can tell you a little bit about the career perspectives, as I just recently did an alumni study to see where alumni students, how they actually do it on the job market upon graduation. Of course, career perspectives is also very dependent on your own skills, and it must be said that you can make a living with your arts diploma, but it's not always easy. We also have a lot of students. We have a very low unemployment rate, our graduates. I will go into more detail about that later, but students have hybrid constructions, which means that they do a lot of different things with regards to arts. They work in different disciplines, and sometimes they do have to combine their art practice with another job to pay the bills, especially in the beginning of their career. But what we do notice is that there's a high level of personal satisfaction amongst alumni because they actually do something that they love, their passion. So yeah, the satisfaction level is quite high amongst alumni, which is a good. And we asked them, would you do the program again if you got to if you got to choose again? And most of the students actually said they would carry out the program again. If you're talented and fortunate enough, you make a good living salary-wise, though many find a great deal of personal satisfaction each day from their job, which they wouldn't trade in. Creativity is a skill that a lot of art graduates have in abundance, and this asset is very useful in a wide variety of different industries. Many art graduates work in media and marketing roles and or teaching, or as I mentioned before, combine a lot of different roles. We call these hybrid constructions. So artists can work as independent contractors, have their own artistic practice. They can work as a member of a collective, or a combination of all these, and then also combine it with a job at a company. Independent artists sell their own work or work on contract assignments. And throughout the program, there are lots of close ties to the industry. As Jan already mentioned, when you students get to display their artwork, they also get feedback from the public or from peers. So basically, by doing this, they also start building a network throughout the study program, which can be very beneficial to them upon graduation. In the Netherlands, we have a search year visa, which means that after graduation, you can stay in the Netherlands for the course of 1 year to find a job or to make a living. So you do not need a working permit immediately. You get to stay in the Netherlands for 1 year. And after that year, if you can show that you have actually work in the Netherlands, then you will get a working permit and get to stay. So that's one of the advantages of studying in the Netherlands if you are actually looking for a career in Europe. Next slide, please. Some of the characteristics of our successful alumni are those that actually dare to take initiative and dare to take risks. Perseverance is a very important skill. Don't give up too easily. Good communication skills, not only communicating, voicing your own opinion and your artistic perspective, but also being able to listen to others and to be able to reflect upon yourself critically. That's something that will bring you far as well in your future career. And of course, curiosity and having an open mind are important characteristics. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, we recently did a survey amongst our alumni from the past 5 years, and we were wondering how do alumni actually display their work. And as you can see in this table, there are different ways in which they do display their work. It varies from expositions at museums to expositions at galleries, but also at festivals or art fairs, and of course, internet is becoming increasingly important in displaying artwork. So a lot of different means, and throughout the program, you will also get acquainted with these different ways of displaying your artwork. Next slide, please. Alumni work in different forms, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of them have hybrid constructions, which mean that they work independently in the art field, combined with a collective, and also combined with a job outside of the art field. But the most important thing to know is that they are not unemployed. We only had one student who recently graduated who's still searching for a job. But all of the other alumni can make a living. So that's good to know. Next slide, please. We also asked alumni if they received grants, financial aid upon graduation, and what kind. And as you can see in this table, about more than half, almost 60%, got funding. 14% actually received a prize. Can't really read it. I think another 14% got a grant, and almost 43%, a little less than half of the students actually get financial aid, which is very, very optimistic. It's also a great way to be able to display your work and reach a bigger audience. Next slide, please. Now, Jan will tell you a little bit more about the portfolio preparation. We were told that this isn't very common in many countries. In the Netherlands, it is. We admit students upon their portfolio. So Jan as a member of the admissions committee, can tell you exactly what it is that he is looking for in your portfolio. We have a couple of requirements that it has to meet, and afterwards, Yuwoon can tell you how she prepared her portfolio, and you can ask all sorts of questions about her decision-making process and whether she's happy that she made it here and what her experiences are so far. So I will pass the floor back on to Jan for now.
Thank you. So, yeah, indeed, the portfolio is an important way for us to select people, and the selection is important because yeah, it's a kind of, we have a specific master here, two specific masters in MedTech, which thrive on students with a specific mindset. So the portfolio is part of figuring out if actually somebody fits into this program, if it makes sense for us and the student to yeah, go into this 2-year journey together. So important is that we understand what you are coming from, what is your process up to now, and why you want to come here, what it would mean for you, and how you would imagine that this will happen. For this, we ask you to send in this portfolio, which displays previous work. And this can be designs, drawings, paintings, crafts, anything that shows your way of thinking. Well, conceptual way of thinking. So it's important that we understand how you, in a specific context of art or society, come from a research question to an artwork. So there's written here is the ability to identify patterns or connections between situations that are not obviously related. So translating something into artworks. This portfolio, it has to include about 20 images or other visual or sound documentation, for example, video, which characterizes your work well and gives a clear picture of your qualities as an artist. And there's a difference between purely showing high quality work. So, for example, a very, very shiny and fantastic portfolio, which only shows beautiful work, but where the thinking process is unclear, it might be more difficult for us than something where we also can see sketches or the development of ideas, and then the outcome, of course, is always welcome when it's high quality, but the adventure and the experiment and the research are also very valuable to us. And to make this a bit more clear, we also ask for a letter of motivation in which you can describe why you are interested to study here. And for this, there will be information about the study available also in form of, yeah, there will be a brochure, which you probably can find the link to, and other information on the website. So we ask to specify specifically for this master why you think it would be interesting for you or for us to have you here. If we then see a match from this selection procedure, we will ask you to join us on an interview to discuss your work, motivation, and also maybe your bachelor's thesis. We can do this through Skype. Of course, the Netherlands is nice to visit, but maybe a bit far away from South Korea. So we can do that through online means. We hope to find out what it is that fascinates you about art and technology in the terms of math tech, but of course, in terms of painting, they have a different focus, which you will also read more about in the brochure and online material. But also we ask you to roughly sketch what you would like to research further when you're here. So maybe something that in your bachelor preparation you found interesting or fascinating that you want to develop further. maybe if you come from an artistic practice already, certain research questions which need deepening. It can be very practical, like, well, I always have been interested in this and that. I did that and would like to develop it further. But it can also be more a broad conceptual plan about, based on your skills and interests in what you would like to develop within the specific context of the masters that we have here. And then, of course, these plans can always change during these 2 years. So it's more like an initial movement that can be, can get you started here. It's not set in stone, so anything that you learn here can, of course, alter this plan. Hopefully it does. So the admission committee, which next to me, in the case of MedTech, consists of another student and another teacher. This committee will look into the theoretical skills and ability to use knowledge to enrich yourself as an artist, but also, of course, on your practical works. And during the admission procedure and in this talk, you will discuss your ideas with us. And once you are admitted, your ideas form the start of the next 2 years. And next slide, please. Next to these more conceptual requirements to make the perfect match between you and us, we have also some technical requirements. One is, of course, the time limitation. We have to finish the whole procedure before we start the study. So we have a couple of deadlines, although these are fluent. It doesn't say that if you didn't make 12th of February, there's no chance. No, there's different moments that application is possible. It's continuously, basically, but at a certain moment, the procedure for all the European Union applications will have to be finished in order to that you start on time. I'm not sure if April 1st is that. Do you know more about it, Denise? Well, we'll let you know in the chat. But yeah, so technical requirements are a bachelor's degree in art or an equivalent university degree or qualification in a related area, for example, design. A proficient level of English. And this English proficiency is to be demonstrated through a document of an official test certificate, IELTS or TOEFL, TOEFL, well, TOEFL, not older than 2 years. And of course, as I described, this this broad outline of the research that you want to carry out. And there's a kind of whole form that we ask you to fill out about your background. Next slide, please. Oh, did you say a remark?
I would like to add that for non-EU students, the final application deadline is May 1st. So preferably we receive the portfolio prior to April 1st. But we still have a couple of weeks afterwards to hand everything in.
Thank you for this addition. Okay. Yeah, the application procedure I told you already about. So quickly see what's in here. Exactly. So the first part, each part of this procedure is designed to identify if you are the type of student who will succeed at Minerva. So we really need to see this as matchmaking because it's specific masters and a specific situation. So after this enrollment application through StudyLink, which is the Dutch system for signing up, you can let us know about your interests of studying here. So the signing up in StudyLink is not already signing up for the study, but it enables you to send all the needed forms and documents. And you will also see this enrollment form on the master's program. You can then select Master of Arts in Fine Art and Design, and then specify your choice for math, tech, or painting. Technically, these are not separate masters, but it's one master with different profiles. After receiving your application, we will send you a confirmation mail together with an application form for admission and details of the documents we require from you. And then the next step is required to provide basic information, including this form about your academic history and examples of accomplished works which you are proud of, including experiments and sketches. I find important to emphasize. And then we will assess your submitted documentation and completed application form. After this, we invite you for this half-hour online interview, possibly followed by a second interview. And if you happen to be in the Netherlands, then you can come directly to Groningen and have this talk personally, but of course Skype will be fine. And then our secretary will let you know about the evaluation of the admission procedure. Next slide, please. Okay, practical matters. Denise, would you like to take over? I can also
some brief information about the costs of studying in the Netherlands. Non-EU students pay about 7,700 euros a year for tuition fees. Student rooms vary, but between 250 to 500 or even more, depending on how luxurious you would like a room or whether you'd like to stay in the student hotel. But on average, we say that a student room costs about 350 euros a month. And then living costs for clothing, food, just going about, would be another 350 euros a month, just to give you a rough idea of what to expect financially.
Okay, and of course this depends very much on how things go. The recent years we found that it is advisable to look for a room as soon as you are accepted. I think it's good to make use of the services that are provided by the Hanse or maybe other contacts to look for a room, because there's many students coming here, and rooms tend to fill up soon. But with the we will provide also this information whenever you enroll. And somebody who has her own experiences is, of course, Jowon, who's next to me here.
Can I speak in Korean?
Sure.
Yes.
제가 인터뷰를 봤을 때가 5월 17일이었는데 이제 발표가 바로 났거든요. 그 발표 나자마자 SSH라고 스튜던트 하우싱 있어요. 그래서 거기에 바로 어플라이를 해서 저는 문제 없이 바로 이제 도착하자마자 집을 구했는데, 이제 다른 분들은 이제 학기가 9월에 시작하니까 8월쯤에 오셔서 이제 집을 구하기 시작하시더라고요. 근데 잘 안 되는 경우들이 많아요. 싼 방일 경우에는 이미 이제 뷰어들이 다 차 있고, 제가 추천하는 거는 이제 스튜던트 하우싱 시스템에 이제 등록해서 집을 구해놓고 이제 그 다음에 이제 계약이 굉장히 플렉시블하거든요. 그래서 이제 한 달이나 한 2달 일찍 와서 집을 구하면서 스트레스를 받느니 이제 그런 쪽에 도움을 받는 것도 나쁘지 않다고 저는 생각해요.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly what I want. Yeah. Next slide, please, because then you will also see the name of Jowon. Grounds Nick.
Yeah,
okay.
sure, yeah.
Okay. Next slide, please. Yes. Okay. So next to this practical matter of the housing, of course, I think it would be interesting if people would hear from you one thing that we didn't mention, because I think it is important. One important aspect of studying here is the community of students.
Yeah.
Could you tell something about that?
일단 학생, especially MedTech or
No, maybe the whole kitchen method. Oh, don't mention the kitchen. No, we have a kitchen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It really gathers us a lot. Yeah. Anyway. 일단 학생의 연령층도 굉장히 다양하고 다양한 필드에서 온 사람들이 굉장히 많기 때문에 뭐 알아가고 싶은 게 있으면 그 사람한테 물어보면 이제 바로바로 뭔가 새로운 정보들을 이제 제한 없이 얻을 수 있다는 게 되게 좋은 점 같고, 학생 도시다 보니까 굉장히 안전해요. 굉장히 안전하고, 한 가지 집 구할 때 팁은 제르니케 캠퍼스 쪽에 구하지 말라는 거. 왜냐면 프랭크모어 인스티튜트이 되게 센터에 있거든요. 그래서 전 처음에 제르니케 캠퍼스 쪽에 있는 걸 구했다가 집을 옮겼어요, 집을. 그리고 이제 학교 내 큰 주방이 있는데 주방에서 이제 수업을 할 때도 있고, 사람들 그냥 저녁 때 모여서 이제 만나기도 하고, 전시에 대해서 공유하기도 하고, 우리 뭐 이제 빨리 이제 그룹을 만들어서 뭐 전시 같은 걸 해보자 이런 얘기도 하고, 그래서 저는 굉장히 만족하면서 다니고 있습니다. Yeah.
Yes.
And should I have to tell about some kind of portfolio or?
Yeah.
저는 그 20장 안에 9개 작업을 넣었었는데요. 메인 샷 한 장에다가 이제 나머지 페이지에는 다 프로세스, 정말 스케치, 뭐 목업, 과정 이런 것들을 다 넣어서 과정 같은 거 제가 어떻게 이렇게 생각하게 됐는지 과정을 되게 보여주는 데다가 좀 중점을 뒀었고, 그래서 그러고 이제 어플리케이션 폼에 I think it was number 7. Like, do you have any experience in like this kind of field? And I said just no, and it really doesn't matter. So 너무 부담 갖지 않으셔도 될 것 같고, 그 어플리케이션 폼에 노라고 적는 거에 대해서. 왜냐면 한 명은 패션에서 맡고 파인아트를 전공한 사람들도 있고, 저는 산업정보 디자인 전공했거든요. 굉장히 다양한 필드에서 오기 때문에 저도 굉장히 놀랐어요. 왜냐면 medtech이기 때문에 테크놀로지가 되게 중요할 거라고 생각했는데, 테크놀로지가 아예 없지만 이런 걸 정말 해보고 싶다 이런 식으로 어플리케이션 폼을 써서 들어온 사람들이 꽤 됐거든요. 그래서 너무 이제 테크 파트에 이거 꼭 포트폴리오에 넣어야 돼 이렇게 생각 안 하셔도 될 것 같고, 그리고 How can I say more about it? 포트폴리오랑 어플리케이션 폼이 꽤 클리어하게 전달이 됐는지 저는 인터뷰 볼 때 10분 안에 끝났었고, 되게 제너럴 퀘스천들만 물어보셨어요. 너의 작업은 뭘 설명하고 있니? 뭐라던가, 너는 어떤 아티스트니? 이런 제너럴 퀘스천인 애플리케이션 폼. 그래서 더 알고 싶은 게 있으신가요? 채팅이 안 올라오는데.
If a question coming in, we will also be open for the chat for a while after this talk, so you can also ask the questions later and we will answer them in the chat.
Yeah, for me, I think.
Or now?
For now, I think.
You're finished?
Yeah.
So if people have questions?
Yes. Okay, indeed, leave your questions in the chat. Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask about the part together with University of Research.
The MMM thing.
Exactly. That is a part that both painting and medtech conduct together with students from the research university, and it covers the theory part of the study.
그 MMM이라고 Media Material Makers라는 이론 수업이 있었는데 그거는 이제 크로닝원의 다른 마스터나 다른 배첼러 학생들, 뭐 큐레이팅 하는 사람, 뭐 히스토리 공부하는 사람들이 이제 와서 이제 저희 페인팅과랑 매텍과 사람들이랑 이제 한 6명 정도 그룹을 이뤄서 이제 전시를 하는 프로그램이었는데, 이제 저희들은 이제 만드는 사람들이고 그 사람들은 이론에 빠삭한 사람들이기 때문에 이제 약간 의사소통에 힘듦도 있었지만 이제 그 과정들을 통해서 되게 얻는 것들이 많았던 수업이었거든요. 수업이라기보다 그냥 3번의 세션 그리고 3일 내내 지속되는 워크숍. 그래서 저는 굉장히 만족했습니다. 좋은 사람들 만나가지고 그러니까 오철훈 씨가 말씀하신 테크놀로지 교육이 있다면 이거는 아두이노 수업도 있고 MSP Max 8 가지고 하는 수업도 있고요. 그리고 저는 저 1학년 학생들이랑 2학년 학생끼리 모여서 이제 그룹 스터디를 통해서 이제 맥스에 대해서 공부를 따로 하고 있고요. I think it's up to for you, like is it possible for can I apply that I already major in classic piano and she just start to learn how to do art and thinking of it, and I have no idea what that was. So.
Yeah, it depends. So I maybe we can put on the next the last slide with some additional information on documents and documentation, because there you can understand a bit what we do in this. The next slide indeed. Yeah, so there you find a couple of links about our program, and you will maybe understand what we can offer and what not. And classical piano, well, it depends. So I cannot clearly say no, but I cannot also not clearly say yes. It really depends on how you want to connect this with the other elements of art making. Although that is a very broad education, it still is a master of fine arts and design. So in the end, the art part, it will require a master level, which of course also depends on the different ingredients which make out your art. But we are not a conservatory, so if the focus is classical piano playing, then it would not make so much sense. But if you would, for example, bring your classical piano playing into contact with society through interactive technology, I'm just improvising here, but then you see if you connect this with other concepts which make sense to you, then it might make sense to us.
Yeah, and 은미 씨 얘기 음악과 컴바인한다는 게 악기를 새로운 컨셉의 악기를 만들어서 연주를 한다던가 아니면 기계 부품에서 이제 나는 소리로 이제 음악을 만든다던가 약간 좀 테크놀로지랑 연관된 새로운 타입의 음악을 이제 하는 것까지라고 생각을 해요. 왜냐면 그런 사람들이 꽤 작업을 하는 사람들이 왕왕 있기 때문에. 그리고 정연 씨, 저는 산업정보 디자인과를 고려대학교에서 졸업을 하고 포트폴리오는 완전히 다른 인터랙티브한 디자인이랑 프로덕트 디자인이랑 합쳐가지고 그러니까 제가 삶에 대해서 어떻게 느끼는지 그냥 이런 걸 하면 재밌겠다 이런 것들만 모아서 사실 학사 때 했던 작업은 하나도 넣지 않았고 1년 동안 새로 이제 그냥 저에 대해서 탐구하는 작업들을 이제 포트폴리오에 넣어서 이제 지원을 했습니다. And I just answered with the Korean questions. And so
Yes, I understood. No, just kidding. But yeah.
This is about applying to the master's programs.
Well, I think on the same links, if you click a bit further, you will find information on the bachelor programs. So I think that is the best place to start. A lot of information is online. I don't know about the technical starting points, like where, for example, you would sign up, but I think also StudyLink is the connection. So you can also, in the link that is not on this page, but which has been mentioned before, I will write it again in the comments.
And the website.
Is this correct?
Yeah, but on the website they can find all information regarding application procedure.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, on just the website of Minerva, you will also find the information for the bachelor.
정현 씨에게 저는 사물이 살아있다면 어떨까 해서 이제 인터랙티브한 작업들을 뭐 화장실에 이제 거울이랑 뭐 쓰레기통이랑 뭐 계속 돌아가는 휴지심 이런 것들을 이제 인스톨레이션을 해가지고 사물이 되게 나쁘게 살아있으면 어떨까, 걔네들이 사춘기면 어떨까 약간 해서 저를 보여주지 않는 거울, 아니면 쓰레기를 넣었는데 자꾸 뱉어버리는 쓰레기통, 뭐 이런 식으로 이제 한 씬을 설정해가지고 작업을 하나 한 것도 있었고, 이제 불과 불은 이제 옮겨지기가 되게 쉬운데 왜 빛은 그렇게 되기가 쉽지 않을까 해서 이제 두 개가 맞닿으면 바로 켜지는, 이제 옮겨가듯이, 불이 옮겨가듯이 그런 작업도 하나 했었고, 인터랙티브한 작업이 아닌 경우에는 의자를 만들었는데, 이제 사람들이 이제 감정을 표현하는데 익숙하지 않고 이 표현을 하면 굉장히 어리다고 생각하잖아요. 그래서 저는 화가 날 때 뭐 이제 뭔가 부시고 싶은데 이제 발로 의자를 찼을 때 걔가 이제 부셔지지 않고 새롭게 뭔가 좀 다른 더 폭신한 게 나오면 어떨까? 그럼 부러지지 않고 저는 기분이 좋을 텐데. 그래서 다 저에 관련 제가 궁금했던 것들, 그리고 이런 걸 비주얼라이즈 하면 되게 재밌겠다 했던 것들을 포트폴리오 작업에 넣어서 작업을 했습니다. Yeah, about the German question.
Which one? About the concept of the
Yeah,
scope of music and.
I didn't answer about this one because I have no idea about that, so I just answered this question.
Which one is it?
The music and
yeah, you need to answer this.
The music and maybe about the combination with the Master of Music or the project.
Yes, indeed. So you what is it? Yeah. So the concept and scope of music and combination. So there are several combinations possible of music within this master. As I said before, it's not a conservatory, so music and developing of skills is not our focus. But there are different other ways of combination. Indeed, with we have people here developing their own musical instruments involving interactivity. For example, through technology, making sensors for gloves with sensors for controlling musical performances. I myself am a musician and I work with sensors and interactivity during performance. We have also people who put their musical skills into a more broader context of media, adding interactivity and visual aspects. And of course, we also work together with the conservatory throughout these cross-disciplinary research projects. And within this new research project that we just started, which will go on for the next 2 years, we look on art making beyond art disciplines. How can people cross art disciplines and collaborate and create work? So yeah, musical background can be incorporated into this master in numerous ways. But yeah, it is a master of fine arts and design, so these aspects, of course, must play a huge role within the process. But if you read the brochure and think, well, this would fit for me anyway, I encourage you to write how you think that would fit, because, as I said, the background is very broad. We had choreographers here, even dancers. We have scientists here. Anything can make sense if it's if you connect the concepts in a way that lets you develop this art and design practice.
Yeah, and Kangsu's question is like he graduate like contemporary art, and is it possible for me to apply medtech?
Yes, yes, yeah. So it's a Master of Fine Arts and Design, it's medtech, and also painting, and Bachelor of Fine Arts would be a fitting background. The diploma requirements are actually not super strict. If you think that from coming from a different background, that your background is relevant for studying this master, then there's some space to discuss that with us. If we think indeed a bachelor from biodiversity would, combined with your other skills in the field of art and design, would make sense here, then we can discuss that in the admission talk. But of course, a bachelor degree of fine arts, that should be a very matching background.
For the Chongyeon C, I just took a film and I worked with the Arduino, so it really actually works. And I just film it and I just put a link on my portfolio, so the faculty member can access to the link and they can see my videos. So it's not actually with the drawing, but like actual work, it really do work. So. Yeah,
okay. Yeah, indeed. So links to videos are valuable ways to show us your work. Always useful if you also combine it with information on why you did this specific experiment. And so it's not just about the technical skills or the outcome of the work, but also what place does this experiment take within your research process, and how would you think this could continue in the master. And we have next to all types of more traditional working spaces for woodworking or metal or silk printing, we have also a lab which focuses specifically on electronics and programming. So there is support in the development of electronics within this school. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay. No more questions, but well, we can see if more trickle in. Until when do we have time to answer them directly? Until
I think about 10 more minutes.
Yeah, so we can just answer mails also in the chat. For now, I think it's just time to thank everybody. Yes. Especially Jérôme here, and very much, of course, Denise for making the connection.
Thank you so much for attending this webinar. I hope that it was useful for you. If you do happen to have a question afterwards, on the last slide, we have an email address that you can send your question to, and we will respond to you as soon as possible. Oh, we have one more question. Would you please describe the characteristics of Minerva Art Academy compared to other Dutch art institutes? That's a very good question. Coincidentally, we were just talking about the different types of art academies in the Netherlands, and Juwoon actually has two friends studying at different academies. Would you be able to answer this question?
Yes. 제 친구 하나는 게릿 리트벨트에 다니고 다른 한 친구는 디자인 아카데미 오브 아인호벤 대학에 다니는데 이제 학교를 정하기 이전에 이제 그 학교들도 가봤고 헤이그 왕립예술대학교는 졸업 전시를 보러 갔었어요. 여기 오기 전에 2017년도에 이제 디자인 아카데미 아인토벤 정말 디자이너를 위한 공간이라고 생각하고 프로세스 자체도 정말 다 리서치랑 다 진짜 직접 만드는 거에 좀 더 포커스를 뒀고 이제 워크숍 같은 것도 한 군데 몰려 있어서 이제 여기 와서 놀랐던 게 이제 북 바인딩은 북 바인딩 따로 메탈 워크숍은 관리하는 사람이 따로 다 워크숍도 관리하는 사람들이 다 따로 있어서 이제 물어보기도 되게 편하고 이제 그런 직접 내가 이런 걸 만들어야 될 때 이제 도움을 받을 수 있는 경로가 굉장히 많았고 굉장히 설비도 굉장히 잘 갖춰져 있다고 생각해요. 그리고 그리고 이제 뭐 또 어떻게 얘기해야 되지? 그리고 미네르바 아카데미라고 스페시픽하게 얘기하기는 힘든 게 제가 미네르바 아카데미에 나오지 않아가지고 모르겠는데 FMI 같은 경우에는 굉장히 학생들의 자율성을 굉장히 많이 인정을 해주고 사실 아웃컴이 아니라 아이디어들만 이제 많이 이제 얘기를 해도 그럼 이런 거는 직접 만들려면 돈이 많이 드니까 책으로 내볼래? 내 것을 만들어 볼래? 하는 다른 대안들을 굉장히 플렉시블하게 제시를 많이 해주세요. 그래서 저는 굉장히 만족하면서 다니고 있고 이게 조금 다른 학교들과 차별되는 부분인 것 같아요. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So, in addition to that, which I didn't understand actually, but as it comes from personal experience, I'm sure it's exactly like that. But there are a couple of masters of fine art and design in the Netherlands, and they're actually quite specific in their approach. And so each has their own focal point, how they interact with society, with the art fields, and yeah, of course, it's important to understand exactly where you are going to. I can only say for the masters of Minerva that adventure and experiment are important points to us. Cross-disciplinary experiments and experience, and yeah. But of course, for pure product design, of course, then Academy in Eindhoven would be more appropriate. So there's a couple of masters which with specific points of interest. You wanted to add something?
Yeah, because like the field trip that we had to go to them, it was really useful actually. 졸업 후에 어떻게 해야 되는지에 대한 것들 굉장히 자세하게 그리고 굉장히 실용적인 측면에서 그런 걸 접할 수 있게 해주는 기회들이 굉장히 많고 네덜란드에 이제 job searching 비자 그 1년 안에 이제 사람들이 이제 레지던시를 지원을 하는데 그런 건 또 어떻게 지원을 하는지 글은 또 어떻게 써야 되는지 이런 것들을 굉장히 자세하게 알려줘서 실용적인 측면에서 굉장히 유익한 면이 많다고 생각합니다. 이거를 좀 더 얘기하고 싶었어요. I just wanted to add.
Okay, thank you. All right, so maybe it's about time to finish this session and answer additional questions through the chat. Is that an idea?
Is this an additional question that we just got from?
I don't understand. 네, 페인팅과에 지금 한 명이 우드로 작업하는 거 말고는 다 이제 전통적인 페인팅 기법을 쓰고 있는데 이제 그 안에 담기는 컨텐츠들이 좀 더 색다른 거라고 얘기를 할 수 있겠고 장학금 about the scholarship that she asked. So
The scholarship
about for I don't know like the general scholarship. I think for the first year like I didn't even apply for that, but
so indeed there's a couple of scholarships available for applicants which bridge the difference in finances for people from outside the European Union. Students from within the European Union, a part of their study fees is actually paid by the European Union, which in effect makes it a bit more expensive for non-European Union students to study here. And there are a couple of scholarships available which bridge this difference. So if you apply for this scholarship and you got one of these scholarships, then you pay the same as your European colleagues. That's kind of offered by the Hansa University. Correctly?
Yes, and that would be a price of about a little over 2,000 euros a year. So that would give you a tuition fee waiver of about 5,000 euros.
Yeah. 장학금을 받으려면 따로 장학금, like tulip, like what was the?
The orange tulip?
Yeah.
I don't think we have that in Korea.
No, like Sumo got that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So no, I don't know like for the specific. He just got like 5,000 euros.
Where's he from?
We just get a comment from Niso.
No orange tulip, no. We don't have it in Korea. We don't have any orange tulip this year. Yeah, but there's a Holland scholarship and there's a Hansa scholarship.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think those are the two most important. And on our website, Hansa University or hansa.nl, you can find more information about our scholarship opportunities.
Yeah, but like if you want to get a scholarship, you need to prepare for the certain scholarship, not an automatic system. So you need to be aware of it.
Yes,
because I didn't even apply for that. So like, I don't know if I can get into. So like, okay, I'm so busy. So
never mind. Yeah,
I did like that. So.
Yeah.
There's one more question which I don't fully understand yet.
I mean, like, I think it's kind of like
comment.
Yes.
Not a question.
Okay. Is it possible to being as a real, just traditional painter, paint, because for the painter?
Of course, there are painters in the painting department who just paint, so it's still possible, and of course it's encouraged. But then again, the viewpoint is important. The tradition and the point from which you develop your work and your attitude towards research and but of course this can totally result in just painting. And I think also again if your artistic vision resonates with whatever you read in the brochure or the additional information, then I think apply to the painting department. And there's another committee talking about these applications. But they will understand which, if there's a match to be made between you and the school or not. So again, also here again, the match of vision and what we can offer is important. All right.
All right.
Another attempt to close the video session, but
no, is there no more is there one more question?
Yeah, it's about like how many Korean students
are currently at Hansa University or in the arts program?
I think I don't know, like I don't know if it's a general question or like specifically for FMI, but like I can tell you about the FMI.
Yeah.
매택에 2학년에 한국 분 한 분 계시고 저 있고 페인팅에 올해 1학년에 한국인 2분 계세요. 네.
And the bachelor's programs have more Korean
Yeah.
students. Yeah.
Even my friend was there, studying there in Minerva. So.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah. No more questions? Ah. Can you read that? It doesn't need to be bigger.
Maybe it's not complete.
Yeah, no, I can read it.
Okay.
But, is the interaction design? Yeah. Yeah. I think yes for me with that question.
They have more to do with technology than with UX technology.
Yes.
Expressing my ideals with technology does not mean that I should be a super expert on it. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
So interaction for us, for the MedTech department, is an important element, but within bachelor educations often is handled with a very specific focus. For example, on how to develop the perfect button for a website, which of course it's a science in its own and very important, but it's not our focus. Our focus is more using interaction to engage with the audience, with a viewer of the work or the participants. So interaction in the sense of how can you engage through the use of technology with an artwork and connect people or people and technology. Maybe in the future connect technology and technology. We don't know. So the view of technology is also very broad, but the use of interaction is much broader than interaction design in the specific application of web design. Also. I hope that helps.
By the way, I actually missed half of this
yes.
schedule. So.
Yes, we will now finish the video session so that Jürgen can attend the project week. So you can again send questions through mail afterwards.
Yeah, masterminerva@org.hamza.nl for any additional questions you may have.
Can you write it here?
It's on the sheet, but
okay.
Let me master.
Oh, it's there.
It's right there.
Wow,
yeah.
Thank you. Okay. I wish I could have seen you all personally through webcams or whatever, but I understand it's not practical this way. But let's.
It's a typo. Sorry.
Okay, okay. We'll correct it soon. But anyway, let's have a waving session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
And we hope to welcome you to our Arts Academy next year or the year after.
Feel free to send questions about the portfolio to us, to our secretary. And yeah, look forward to hopefully see some of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.